What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily, your source for daily tech news. We have two stories today. Both of them are about the iPhone 13 line of phones, a series of phones, and one of them is like why you should upgrade. The other one is storage amounts. And then we also have a bunch of questions, which are all about the Galaxy phone for the most part. With that said, let's jump into the stories about the new iPhone 13. So if you remember, the 13 series is going to have some changes with it. Now, not huge changes, but changes overall. Now, with that said, what are you looking at for storage amounts for these phones? So it looks like the storage amounts that you're gonna be able to get, because it looks like they eliminated 64 gigabytes from their lineup. iPhone 13 mini and 13 will go from 128, 256, and 512 gigabytes of storage. And then the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max will have 128, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. And when you look at that, I think most people will probably end up going for the 128, and then I think the second most popular will probably be 256. Can't see a lot of people going after the 512 and 1 terabyte. I know some people will, but I think the greater majority is 128 to 256. I will probably be in the 256 gig model, maybe. 128 I have on this, and it's actually done me pretty fine because I don't use it all that much. When I do, it's usually for like B-roll, and I haven't used this as my B-roll camera in quite some time, but I'll definitely be in that 128 or 256. Definitely nothing more than 256. But what about you guys? For anyone that's getting the iPhone 13s, what size and which exact model will you get? I'm gonna get the 13 Pro Max. Next up, Mark Gurman, who is a Apple leaker news guy of sorts, and he had put out a tweet, it seems like, or some information that the Galaxy had put together in a nice little tweet for us to use, showing the iPhone 13 upgrades over the iPhone 12. So the iPhone 13 will have new camera software features, whatever that ends up meaning, a faster A15 processor, LTPO display, which is the same kind of display that are on the new Galaxy phones, and they will feature likely a high refresh rate, aka 120 hertz, on the Pro models only. And also you're gonna get some, same design but with a narrower notch, so a smaller notch now but with the same design on the phone, and satellite features for emergency communication. I'm very curious what they mean by satellites. Is it actually going to communicate with satellites up in the air, like kind of like those satellite phones do, where you can make phone calls from basically anywhere? I highly doubt that, but who knows? Maybe they will have some kind of chip built into there. So, I mean, you know, you're looking at something like that, and it's not like that exciting. I think the most exciting piece of technology in there is probably that high refresh rate in the displays. And then beyond that, obviously you always want something a little bit faster, even though the phones are already fast on the iPhone side and most everywhere else. New camera software probably next, and then the notch, and then that emergency communication, because how often are you gonna actually need that? But some cool stuff in there. Not a huge, amazing upgrade, but something you can kind of look forward to. Thanks for watching, guys. Your question of the day before we get into the questions is, what do you think is the most exciting feature that the new iPhone 13s are getting? Put it in the comments down below. With that said, guys, let's get into the Q&A portion of the video and drop that beat! First question comes from Kat's Kasem. Hi, Greg. Phones are getting better now. It's becoming more confusing what to buy. I was going to buy the full 3, but now the Note 22 and S22 coming out now. I'm confused what to get. I'm using the S21 Ultra at the moment. Don't know if I should wait. What would you use as your daily driver, your next phone, or should I rather wait? Well, I think when you look at the Note 22 and S22 phones, they're gonna be very similar probably in what you get and have with the S21 Ultra. When you get something like a Z Fold 3, it's a completely different experience, a completely different phone. I would still tell you to get the Z Fold 3, even though the Note 22, if it ever comes out, and the S22 phones will most likely have better specs. But you could say, well, why don't you wait for the Z Fold 4? That'll have better specs than this, you would assume. So I would still tell you to get this phone, just because if you've never had a folding phone, again, I always say it's an experience, it's something different. Give it a try. You don't like it, you can always upgrade the next year. Ronnie Thomas says, do you think Samsung should just run Dex or possibly Chrome OS on its tablets instead of Android? That is a really smart thing to say, that it just, like, if you got a tablet that they put out that it would just run Dex, like, that's awesome. I still think you need Windows. But if they sold a tablet that just ran DeX or ran Chrome OS and DeX, I mean, I'd probably buy it. Like that's one thing I would want is a dedicated DeX, interface. I know you can use it with your tablet, but you still have to buy the keyboard, and sometimes I don't really love the keyboards on the Samsung side. I like them better on the iPad side. So I would love to see something like that, like a dedicated DeX laptop. And I know there's like accessory things you can buy, but it's not the same. Like I want a dedicated DeX laptop. That would be awesome. I agree with you. That would be pretty cool. Vincent Waters says, do you expect Samsung to announce any kind of upcoming AR smart glasses tech to try and counter Apple's move in that direction? I think you will. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything in that way. We've seen stuff and I also think we're getting that way. I think that when I always forget probably, but that would probably be the next piece of tech that I'd absolutely love is some kind of smart glasses or smart sunglasses that I can wear, that I can possibly watch videos out of, read my notifications, emails, look at my screen, see who someone is, like with a built-in camera, like it would be like, oh, that's your friend on Facebook, blah, 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 or that's your friend on blah, 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 or that, maybe if I didn't even know the person, maybe you show me a profile of them through my glasses. Like that is the future. We need to get to that. I know a lot of people are concerned with privacy because of some of the stuff that would be able to do. I wouldn't be that worried about it. I'm not like famous, but I'm a somewhat public figure having a channel on here, and obviously I'm throwing myself out there, but so I really wouldn't be worried about someone walking by me and be like, oh, that's Greg and he's this and this and that. Like stuff I wanted to share, I wouldn't be worried about that. So I'd love to see Samsung do something with that space. Will they? Yes. When will they? I'm not really sure. I would expect next year or the year after we'll probably see something from them, but hopefully they do it soon because it's a tech I'm totally into. Zane Uden, I have the 21 Ultra and Z Fold 3, hate carrying around 2 S Pens. Would it be wise to get the S Pen Pro? I'm just concerned that it's a bit big to fit in a jeans pocket, and I was so close to returning my Z Flip 3 like you, but decided to keep it. That's a fair question to ask, and I think you are on the right path of saying, I don't want to hold 2 S Pens. What's the alternative? And I think it is the S Pen Pro. That way you can sync it with both of them. You have the Bluetooth functionality on there. I still think you'll be able to fit it into your jeans. And if you carry a bag with you, a man purse or some kind of thing, you could do that. But yeah, I think that's a smart idea. Go the S Pen Pro route and see if you can incorporate it into your life in terms of fitting it in your pocket or into a bag, or even building some kind of self-made case that would hold it. And if you can, great. And if you can't, return it. And our last question comes from Rob Anderson. Are they still coming out with the Pixel Fold? If they do, how do you think it will compare to the Fold 3? We haven't heard that much about it. We heard that it was going to come out towards the end of this year. That seems to not be happening. The real release date, from what I've heard, is early 22. But again, that's not real. It's just rumors that have been kind of floating around. And you would think it's not going to come out this year because we haven't heard really anything about it. And we already know everything about the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. So you would think that they're going to release this sometime next year, hopefully early next year. And then in terms of how it would compete with something like this, I think it would be very similar. But I would guess that the body of the phone and the cameras and how they sit and everything would be more similar to a Galaxy Z Fold 2. I think you wouldn't have any hidden cameras on the phone. I also think that software-wise, it's obviously not gonna have Samsung software on there. It's gonna be a little bit different in that regard too. It's gonna be their own kind of Google software, but I think it'll be a little bit different than what we see with just a plain old Google phone. And then spec-wise, I think it's gonna be very similar to the 6 Pro. So I think you're looking at a high-spec'd out phone, a phone that'll have slightly different software than the other Pixel phones, and then the cameras are just gonna be top-notch like any other Pixel phone. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have a question, leave it in the comments down below with the word question, and I will answer it. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace!